Hey tech learners, how are you all? Hope you're all doing good. So today we would be getting into the Python fundamental data types. So when we come across the data type, so we only have two major partitions, basically like numeric and alphabetical. So when it is numerical, it is like in our programming language we come across integer, float, complex data types. And when it is in alphabetical, it is all about characters, the group of characters that we have. So when it is characters, obviously the first and foremost that we come across is string, and wherein which is majorly and widely used. So these are some of the basic data types in Python. So I would be taking you through how to declare these variables, and how Python is going to interpret a particular Python variable as that particular data type. So without wasting our time, let's get started. Okay, so let's get into the practical part of it. Say here, we have integers first. When I take integers into consideration at the first, so let's say we declare a variable x is equals to 10. Okay, and then we have print statement in order to display whatever the value we have it in x. So it is 10. So if you see in the first line, we have integers. This is basically a single line comment. If you haven't watched this video, please go through the Python comments. I have one more video that is now uploaded on the Python integers. So you can watch that. So here, so this is how, and even I had even talked about how to declare in Python variable. So here, this is what it is. So let's come to the float now. So if you have x is equals to, say, the float, say when you have an integer, and one more thing that I wanted to discuss here is, so Python, it is like whatever the variable, based on this value that you are going to give, you're going to assign, based on this value, it's going to say the data type of this variable x. Okay, so if we in Python, we have one of the function called as type. If you wanted to check what is the data type of this, you can check it is an int. Int is int, in a sense, it is an integer. So if you have only the real number, without any decimal points, that is called as an integer. So if you have a number like wherein you have to include the decimal point also, say like 10.5 or 10.1, 10.2, or like 10.3, something of that sort, then you have float data type. So if you wanted to do, you can get the if you wanted to display it, then you can use a print statement. And if you wanted to know the type of it, you can say type of x. So it's going to say here as float. Okay, so these are the most commonly, in our day-to-day programming things, we usually use this. It is not that complicated. It is just the data types that we have it in Python. And the next one is Boolean. So when we come with Boolean, it's only the two data types. In turn, it has got two, data types, sub data types kind of a thing, which is true and false. Where, okay, internally, okay, let me get into that. So if it is true, this is how the keyword is in Python. That is capital T followed by rest of them should be in small letters. And then if I am printing it, if you wanted to display it, then I can display it. Okay, as the same thing that we have discussed earlier. I mean, in the top sessions with the integers and with the float. Then if you wanted to type the data type of it, it is bool. And then similarly, you can have for false also. Okay, so for false as well. So the same thing, whether it's true or false, the first letter should be always in capital letter. So whatever you have in it would be in the green color. Okay, which are available. It could be with a keyword, it could be with the functions or whatever it is. It should be. It is usually in a green color in the Jupyter notebook. So here, if I said you that true is being internally taken as 1 and false is internally taken as 0. So in order to see that, we can do one of the operation like true plus true, which is like what is the output should be? It should be 2. So this is how it is. And if I wanted to do 1 plus 0 or 1 plus 2 plus false or true plus false. Okay, so that is 1. Okay, 1 plus 0 basically it is. Okay, so this is, I hope you're clear with the three data types that we have come across, that is with integer, with the float, and with the bool. So here, as I mentioned, so one of the things that you have to make sure is whatever the value is specified, that is the data type this variable is. Here, I've taken all the variables as x here for all the three examples. So here the x is of integer data type, and here the x is of float data type, and here X is of Boolean data type. Okay, you can use the same variables. Basically, you can reuse the same variable. Is what is that flexibility that Python is going to provide you. It is like any programming language that we have got that flexibility that you can use the same variable, but whatever if I wanted to print the X now, what would be the value of X, which would be the recent one, that is with the false one. Yeah, okay. So let's get with the string. So what is string? String is nothing but the combination of many characters or group of characters, selection, or like, in string, most of the times we come with the selection one, right? Like, substring and all those things, like, pattern based operations we majorly do with string. That I will be taking in another video. Now we'll see how to only do an string declaration. So if I take another variable, the same variable, if I'm taking with, say it is ma tech learn, okay, Tech Learn YouTube channel, if I'm going to type that. So if I do an print statement, I basically get the same thing. So what is that I get? That's the string. So string has got three different types, like, to declare it. You can either declare it in a single quotes, or you can declare it in double quotes in a sense like this. Okay. So it is of same data type. So if I wanted to have a type check of this, you can do this type of X. So this is what is a string data type, or you can have it in triple quotes as well, but single or double irrespective of it. Okay, so it is of string. So there is a difference with single and when you are using a single quote and with triple quotes, okay, which I will be taking this particular session in another video. Okay, this is only with the string declaration. I wanted to restrict this video particularly only for the string, like, only for the variable declaration, like, different data types of variable declaration. And the next one is of complex. So what is a complex number? This is the most like, very complicated data type. We had it in our mathematics, right? So wherein we had something like imaginary a plus, which is of like this, a plus ib, or a plus bi. So what does this basically mean? So this is actually the real part. This was a real part, and then here the b is an imaginary part, right? We had, so here in mathematics we had I as an imaginary part, but in Python we have j. If I have a variable x is equals to, say, 10 plus 4j, okay, here I have encountered minus. Okay, so then it is print of x. If I type, you're going to get the complex. If I wanted to type like, know the type of that variable, you can have type of that, you're going to get complex. Okay, so this is all about it. You can have a negative one also, like minus, you get this. So here, as I said, when you have only a real part and the imaginary part both combined with together, so if you only have x is equals to 1, okay, so what is the type of this? This would be an integer, right? If I wanted to check this is what it is, integer. When you have an real and with an imaginary part, that becomes a complex data type. Okay, you can even have only the like, imaginary part of it, say 5j. Okay, the type of x, it would be complex. Okay, I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. And the next one is, so if you wanted to retrieve only this real or the imaginary part, you can do that. You have a function like, like imaginary is img, and for the real you have real, that is real. So okay, img, iamg, I guess it is. Let me see. Yeah, iamag it is. Okay, so it is the imaginary. You can have it like this. This is just for your understanding. Okay, the real. So this is how it is. So in this example, it is giving actually for the x1, we have a 5j. So we did not have any real number in this case. So it is 0 and imaginary part was 5. So this is the floating data type it basically takes in. Okay, so if you wanted to check here, if you wanted to do the same thing, we can do it here as well. Yeah, now you can see minus 4.0 and 1.0 being the imaginary and the real numbers. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you all guys today, with just a very basic one, which is like, the different data types, like, how to use the different data types, how to declare it basically, and like, how to play around with this, any kind of an operation. Okay, so this is all about for today's video. So happy learning, guys.